humans will be having sex more with AI-powered robots than with other humans. I know. Mic drop, right? I heard that and I was like...
Brynn Gibbs is the founder and CEO of Consumer Fusion.
And a leading force in AI reputation tech.
Nowadays, with social media, you can go viral for the wrong reason. They lose new customers, they just lose consumers' trust. So there's many different ways that you can protect your brand. That's also why we're here and why we're growing. If we try to overcorrect and act a certain way, it's not going to organically unfold the way that someone would hope it would. So be your true self and stand by your product or your vision or your idea, and don't let others intimidate you based off of gender. Absolutely not.
Because I think people that do struggle and find their way to the light can achieve magnificent things. Would you be open to talking a little bit about how you grew up and how you came to where you're at now?
In high school, I was cyberbullied, and it was before cyberbullying was really a thing, because the social media that existed back then was like an AOL dial-up profile. So what I went through, it was awful, very dark time in my life, and I didn't go to anyone for help. I just figured out how to report content that was posted online about me to get rid of it, and I didn't do anything with that self-taught skill. But I wouldn't change it, even though it was torture at the time, because how we got into reputation management is
inspiring business leaders, voices that move the world forward.
Welcome to Inspiring Business Leaders. Today I have Brynn Gibbs of Consumer Fusion, a reputation software.
First of all, hi, thanks for having me. It's great to see you. I'm
You
excited
too.
to be here.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Consumer Fusion, it's a reputation management, social media, and local listings platform. Your online reputation as a business is more important than ever, so we give you all of these AI-powered tools to get your business found at the local level. So I started the company in 2013, bootstrapped. Year after year, we've incorporated more AI into our platform and our technology. And yeah, it's been a wild ride, an exciting ride, but I love having tools and the support team to help businesses thrive at the local level. And when I see other businesses winning, it just motivates me to keep going and keep growing Consumer Fusion. So I'm excited to share all my tips and tricks today, and yeah, just to be here with you.
Awesome. Thank you. Thanks. Yeah, we've worked on a few projects together. We've done some videos. It was amazing to learn more about your company, work with you, your husband, the team at Consumer Fusion. I've heard reputation is everything. Let's talk a little bit. What does that mean? What does reputation mean in the general sense?
Your reputation in general, it's just what people think of you from your actions. And if people trust you and over time, you continue to show up, people are going to trust you. They're going to want to work with you. They're going to want to be close to you. So, I mean, just as a person as well as a business, it's more important than ever to just have a strong reputation.
And what happens if your reputation gets destroyed?
Well, that's what's scary, is nowadays with social media, you can go viral for the wrong reason. So a big piece of what we do at Consumer Fusion is brand protection. So a lot of times we are helping business owners who have ex-employees who take to TikTok or a social media platform, and they share their opinion of what may have transpired with the business. May or may not be accurate, but their goal is to hurt and defame, business owners or brands. And we've had to step in several times over the years where someone has gone viral for the wrong reason, and it impacts their business. They lose new customers, they just lose consumers' trust. So there's many different ways that you can protect your brand. It's awful when a brand or business is unfairly attacked online, but that's also why we're here and why we're growing, is because there's more of a need for it than ever before.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I still look at reviews, Google reviews or Yelp, but a new trend I've heard emerging, especially with the Gen Zers, are they're looking on platforms like TikTok and Instagram. Are there reviews on there? Are they just looking at content? And are we seeing reviews change with the newer generation?
So that's a great question. And I actually just did a LinkedIn poll asking people where they search now. And the options that I gave were Google, ChatGPT, TikTok, YouTube, and then voice search. So Siri or Alexa. And Google is still pretty much the gorilla in the room. I think that when I last checked the poll, they were around 80% of where people go when they're starting their search. But TikTok was up there, as well as ChatGPT. ChatGPT was around like 20-ish%. So it's definitely changing. Demographics play a big part. Younger demographics are leaning more towards TikTok. They like the quick, educational, entertaining content that's, under a minute, and they're more visual learners. Like, they like watching a tutorial video on how to do something versus going to do the diligence of searching and figuring it out on their own, the traditional way that we grew up doing it. But reviews play a vital role in how your business shows up in search. So AI-driven tools look at review sentiment, and that is part of how they give their users the information that they're looking for. So I'm telling businesses, pay attention to the AI overview of your business, because you want to make sure that it's positive, because it can change depending on new reviews and new content that is out there public about your business. So I have all of my account managers, when they're doing their monthly meetings with our clients, first of all, a lot of those calls are now being informing them of what AI tools are out there, how people are searching, what the new search looks like. But I'm having them document what their AI overviews look like, because you can't necessarily control what they're going to pick up, but you can control that it is a positive trend across all the different avenues available where they pull the data. So every month I'm encouraging my account managers, make sure that you're showing the business owners the sentiment that is being pulled about their business. So it's really fascinating to watch.
Yeah. Can you give us any insights into that? Are you using tools like ChatGPT with Consumer Fusion software?
Oh, yeah.
How are you integrating the new AI programmatic algorithms and other things to help your clients with that?
So about 5 years ago, we started bringing AI into Consumer Fusion's platform. When it was first introduced to us, we're like, oh my God, we could sense this is going to be huge. This is going to be a game changer. So when we first brought in AI, it was around our review tool for identifying content that can be removed across all the different social channels, as well as directory sites, so Yelp and Google. So we would pull in all of our clients' reviews, and then we had our own proprietary tool that we developed that would spit out if it violated the guidelines of those different directories and social sites. So that's how we help brands at scale who have hundreds, thousands of locations. We connect all of their locations and then run it through our AI tool, and then our team knows, based off of that probability score, what we can successfully get removed or not for them. Instead of having to sift through thousands of reviews, it will just tee up what can get removed for our team. So that was the very first thing that we brought into our platform around AI. But since then, we now do AI-powered review listening. So it's keeping pulse of what people are saying about you online, positive, neutral, and negative. You can set certain categories and keywords to monitor, and you can also do custom keywords as well. So if I want to keep pulse on a sensitive topic, or if I have an area of my business that I'm struggling with, or if there's a fire and something gets posted around a certain topic, I want to be alerted about it immediately. So we have the ability to set that up through our review listening. Another one that's super cool is every business wants to be found organically when someone's searching for that type of business. Yeah. Our listings tool, we use AI to prompt our clients how they can enhance their listings better to be found at the local level. So in the past, our account manager would have to review all the different sources and spend a good amount of time manually pulling that information. And now within seconds, AI can just spit out, you need to do X, Y, and Z, and then you haven't done this in 30 days, and it just tees it up on a platter pretty much. So
amazing.
Yeah.
It's what a world we live in. I mean,
I
it's just getting so tech and automated, and to keep up with all this, it's amazing you have a thought of those tools. I mean, I didn't even know AI was out 5 years ago. That's amazing.
Yep. It's been around a lot longer than people think.
Yeah,
it just hasn't been accessible, for the average person to use like it is used now. But it was 5 years ago. I actually just invested in an AI training course for my entire team. It was awesome. Highly recommend that business owners look into doing something along those lines for their team. We did it, it was the end of last year. And I actually, on our company-wide meeting last week, it's all virtual, post-pandemic, but I called out how happy I was that we took the time as well as made the investment to train the team. Sure. Left and right, every call I'm on, my team is sharing examples of how they utilize ChatGPT or Perplexity, all these different tools that can give them so much time in their day to focus on what truly matters and just free up mundane tasks. But also there's so much creative, capabilities that it gives you too. Like I am constantly asking ChatGPT and prompting it to do things for me that would have taken me weeks, a few years ago. So yeah.
But I look at, with all good things, there's also another side to this equation, potentially. And maybe we haven't seen it yet. It was sort of like when the phone came out and the social media came out, was a great thing. Now we're seeing younger people having mental and emotional disorders. Now, I'm not blaming it on technology, but I think it has a big part to do with it.
Yeah.
Do you think that the children growing up now and not having to maybe find that information like we had to, could that make people more lazy, more entitled? I mean, what are some of the adverse things that you think could happen with AI?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question and call out. Like just yesterday, I was watching this video where it was like two perfectly looking females, looked like they had nothing wrong with them. And then they like started backing up. Like you couldn't tell that was fake. And then it showed their real selves at the end of the video. And I was like, whoa, like I'm familiar with AI and I even fell for it. So I think a lot of it for younger generations will require like education where they are taught, whether that's in school or by parents, that not everything you see is real. And a lot of things are manipulated or enhanced. And I mean, I know what it's like. I feel insecure sometimes looking at things on social media and I'm like, I know that it's not real, but sometimes it's hard not to believe or not to compare. So
yeah, I mean, have you seen the movie The Matrix?
You know what? I haven't. I'll be honest. I haven't seen Star Wars. Like I'm
All
not
the
into
good ones.
that. I know.
Well, The Matrix is about kind of living in this simulation, and the machines use our energy to fuel their.
I'm familiar. Yeah.
It's strangely how we're going. I highly recommend the movie, but strangely it seems like this is a documentary, and this is the beginning of it right now because. Yeah. I believe even in reality, it's hard to tell the difference. And now we have like virtual reality and AI on top of this. Who knows where it can go? I mean, we don't know. We can speculate, but it's crazy. Now,
I do need to give you a hard time though,
please.
And this is all in good fun. But we were working on our organic content for LinkedIn for Consumer Fusion, and you had commented, "Is this AI Brynn or real Brynn?" And that's happened a few times. But you know what? Like I took that feedback constructively. I was like, I'm trying to make everything too perfect. People relate more to raw and real. And so like I adjusted, but it gave me a good laugh when you commented that.
Well, is AI going to have reputation? I mean, are we going to have to monitor the reputation of AI?
You know what? You're right. I think we will.
I mean, and how are we going to do that? Is Consumer Fusion thinking about that next? Like, will AI have spokespeople? Will it have, I think they already have their own channels on Instagram pretending to be real people and things like that.
Yeah, they do. You're not wrong. There are complete fake profiles that are all AI. So.
Yeah, and they look like real people.
Yeah. That gave me an idea. Maybe we can develop an app that where like you can feed content through and it will kick out if it's AI or if it's real.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go.
Thanks. I'm so glad I came today. There's my next venture.
Well, let's talk about Brynn, the personal life. I mean, you're a mom and you're a wife. What does your family life look like while running a business?
There's never a dull moment. In full transparency, we're busy. So I started the company with my husband, and I think that's why we have been able to grow the way we have been. It's just we've been tag teaming it since day one together. Same with raising our family. We have 10, 8, and 6-year-old. We do travel for work, but we rely heavily on grandparents and aunts and friends and neighbors to help. You know, it takes a village to grow a business, but also to raise a family. I started Consumer Fusion before having kids, and I am grateful that I got the first few years under my belt before kids because it's a lot, but it's worth it. I wouldn't change anything, but yeah.
What kind of virtues or ethics do you focus on in your family? Do you try to instill in your children?
They, of course, get sad. Like if mommy has to go on a work trip and I'm going to be gone a few days. So what I'll do is like if I'm presenting, I'll practice in front of them and explain to them why I'm going, explain why we have this company, explain what our goals are and like our vision for our family and our future. My youngest doesn't quite digest that. She's, she'll listen for about 5 seconds and then she's over it. But my oldest gets it, because he gets bummed out if we miss a single baseball game. So letting him know like why we're on the road, who we're there to meet with, what we're hoping to accomplish while we're there. And then he gets so excited for us when we come back and we tell him how the event went. And we're at the point now too where I can be more selective of where I go, and other team members can represent Consumer Fusion on the road. So I'm not traveling as much as I was a few years ago, which is nice. But
I know I've heard your story a little bit about coming, some things happened in school and you've overcome a lot in your life to get where you're at. And oftentimes I think people that do struggle and find their way to the light can achieve magnificent things. Would you be open to talking a little bit about how you grew up and how you came to where you're at now?
And I appreciate you asking if I'm okay with it, which I'm completely comfortable doing it now. But there was a time where I was a closed clamshell and I would not go there. But I grew up in Fresno. It's about 5 hours north of here. We're in San Diego, for those of you watching. And went to school there, graduated Fresno State, moved down south after college, and I've been here ever since. But in high school, I was cyberbullied, and it was before cyberbullying was really a thing, because the social media that existed back then was like an AOL dial-up profile. So it wasn't TikTok, Snapchat. Like, I can't imagine what I went through. It was awful, very dark time in my life, and I didn't go to anyone for help. I just figured out how to report content that was posted online about me to get rid of it, and I didn't do anything with that self-taught skill for close to 10 years. But that was, social media back then is night and day than it is now. And I feel awful for kids, and especially their parents, if their child is going through cyberbullying, because a lot of times kids won't talk about it. And it's really dark. It sucks. And it's so much more in your face and accessible than it was back then. But I wouldn't change it, even though it was torture at the time, because how we got into reputation management is my husband's stepdad is a retired dentist, and he had an office manager who had a new employee who, back when Google and Yelp reviews were new to the scene, they had to terminate a new employee, like less than a month. And she and all of her friends and family spammed the dental office with a bunch of fake spam negative reviews. And this was before businesses were proactively monitoring and trying to drive, their online presence. But their new patient revenue started to drop off. And a patient brought this to their attention. And long story short, I stepped in to help report and get those spam fake reviews removed. And then I was introduced to another local attorney who was being bashed by a competitor just trying to earn the online business spotlight. And then that attorney directed me to a plastic surgeon in Los Angeles whose crazy ex-wife was bashing him online. So it was kind of just like word of mouth in the beginning. And it all happened the right way at the right time, but it was me doing the work. And then Mark and I together having this vision of, imagine if you had a brand and you needed to manage every location, and then tools to get more reviews, and then responding to reviews, reporting, and we're bootstrapped, so we couldn't do all of this at once. We were gradually reinvesting into the platform month after month. 12 years now at this point, but it's been nice doing it at our own pace, though, because going back to the comment about growing or having a family, I've been able to maintain a healthy-ish work and home life.
Let's talk about the ish, because I always like those. The issues, what are challenges that as we integrate more into technology, and I know this is such a big topic, everybody's talking about it, but you have a family with 3 children at such a sensitive age.
Yeah.
Are they all saying the same thing? Are you getting different feedback? Are they on social media? When did they start with tech? How do you manage these kids at this age in this world?
It's every day I learn something new. My kids don't have their own social media yet, but my oldest actually went viral on TikTok for a funny NFL video that he did a few months ago. And we were excited about it. It was fun seeing him being reposted by all these big sites, and just seeing the engagement. But it opened up a conversation where my husband and I were like, okay, it's fine because it's through my account, but we don't want our kids exposed to this yet. We're going to wait until they're older. It's just too much for them to process at this age. But our youngest, she likes Snapchat just to play with the filters, but we don't let them have free reins with social media by any means.
Do they ask you why? I mean, does that come up, or they just accept it as it is?
Because their friends aren't on it yet, like if we were dealing with junior high age kids, we'll be there in a year and a half. I'm kind of dreading that, stage of life. I think it will start to come up. And at that point, there's tools that parents have where they can get alerted of things, like even down to if certain words are typed into search or sent via, DMs. So I will give them some freedom, because I think back to when I was, junior high, I would have hated my mom,
You're the mom with all the algorithms. I'd be nervous.
Oh, yeah. I would have had a burner phone for sure.
Yeah.
But I've been talking with some moms, like kids are leaving their phones at their friend's house. That way, like their parents can't track them.
Wow.
I think it's just, parents just have to have lots of conversation. Schools do a good job nowadays of kind of coaching parents on what they can do and tools that are available to them. But you can't ignore it. You have to have those conversations.
Yeah. Wow. I do want to switch back to business a little bit.
Okay.
Let's talk a little bit about business leadership. And I mean, you're a female in, I'm assuming software is a primarily male-driven,
1,000%.
often probably very masculine male-driven industry.
I'm often the only female in rooms sometimes.
Perfect. Well, this is a great thing to talk about.
Do you want to know how many times I get referred to as Brynn Gibbs a day? I'm not kidding. At
and then
least
you come
3.
up looking all stunning as a female, right?
My kids have this joke. They're like, Uber for Brynn. But no, I get cold calls all the time. And can I speak with Brynn Gibbs? He's expecting my call. I'm like, no, he's not.
Well, tell me about that. I mean, the world, we've had two very different, politics, I think, play a big part in sociology. And I don't really want to dive into politics necessarily, but I feel like the two administrations, the last one and this one, have different ways they define masculinity and leadership in general. So tell me more about your experience with this. Like, how do you command a room? What is the difference between like masculinity and femininity, and what kind of role does it play in your life, business life?
Well, Consumer Fusion, yes, my husband and I co-founded it together, but the first 10 years we were female led. Like every department head was a female, and so it has never really played too much of a role for us because it was very heavy female, which is rare in tech, especially software. But I really think that is why we're so successful. I'm just being honest. Like,
wow.
Because we've retained our team over the years. Like, I am celebrating team anniversaries. Like, we had a 12-year yesterday. Several team members have been with me 10 plus years, 7 plus years. I think that it's just like our natural instinct to take care of our team. And I always say, as a leader, you have to take care of yourself first before you can take care of anyone else. But it's our job for the people on our team to evolve and to grow, and it's unfair if you expect that of them but you're not doing it in return. But when I have people who have the legacy knowledge of every department still with me, like, it's nice not having to bring someone else up to speed, because people have been with me since day one, and we have such a good working relationship that it's, just evolving from there.
So internally, there's not the dynamics of machismo masculine, but when you
Not
go
at all.
out, have you felt that energy or sensed that energy or anything even directly?
Yeah, I'm headstrong, and I've definitely had to insert myself and hold my ground and not let people walk all over me. And just because we are bootstrap, I don't have, big pockets like some other people in the space where they have partners who people might consider to just have more credibility because they can claim certain partnerships. But again, circling back to earlier, you asked me, like, what is reputation? It's like we've earned our reputation in our space.
Definitely. What would you tell other women that want to be bosses in the tech space? Like, what kind of advice would you give them? Let's say they're 22, 23, they're graduating with a software degree, and they admire what you did. What should they expect? How should they hold themselves? And, what does that look like coming from a female boss leadership role?
Well, one thing that I wish I had done, which I highly, highly recommend, is seek a mentor. People want to help, so don't be scared to ask for the help. I was too embarrassed to ask for help. I just figured out how to do things with my team or on my own. I could have fast-tracked so many things and made my life so much easier had I just, maybe set my ego aside or not worried about embarrassing myself by asking for help. People want to help. People intentionally open up their doors so that they can help young, aspiring leaders. So that would be my first piece. Like, find a mentor, ask for help, and ask for help again. Because people do want to see, especially entrepreneurs, they want to see other entrepreneurs succeed. In regard to software, though, I will say timing is everything. Because once you get to a point where you're on the radar and say your secret sauce is solving problems or it's growing in popularity, the big players in every vertical have deep pockets, and they can recreate and, just kind of make their own version of what you're doing. So either partner with them if it makes sense, or take outside funding if it makes sense to kind of protect yourself. Like, you just really have to pay attention and realize that things move quicker when the pockets are deeper.
But going back to looking at the masculine energy and the feminine energy, do females have to wear a masculine persona to get ahead in the industry in some instances?
I was trying to play that masculinity card when we first kind of got on the scene. And I think people sniffed out that I wasn't being my true, authentic self. I was too worried about impressing people and making everyone like me. And if I could go back in time, I would have just been 100% myself. I think that if we try to overcorrect and act a certain way, it's not going to organically unfold the way that someone would hope it would. So my 2 cents would be, no, be your true self and stand by your product or your vision or your idea, and don't let others intimidate you based off of gender. Absolutely not.
What would you tell that you mentioned a little bit ago you would have done some things different? Knowing what you know now, what would you have told your 23 or 25-year-old self? Would you have done anything different?
I would have invested more in tools, software tools, quicker. I was doing a lot of things just manual, and I was scared to overly invest because, again, we were bootstrapped. So I wish I had started a few years earlier with technology that would make my life easier as we're growing.
I feel that in the video industry, I did the same thing. I bought cheaper equipment. I was like, I wish I would have just invested in the big camera and the big lenses, because the business came. I think I was scared that I wouldn't bring in the revenue. Was that the thing that maybe was also holding you back?
Yeah, and just we had a team, and that was growing. I was always just so nervous about like making sure that they were taken care of, and bills were paid. So it was due to just making sure all boxes were checked there.
I want to go back to mentorship. Do you have a mentor still?
So I've worked with business coaches, which I highly recommend. Like if someone is capable of investing in a business coach.
How much does it cost?
Different ones cost different amounts. Let's just say that.
Okay.
They're not cheap. Currently, though, I'm not working with a direct business coach, but I am working with an EOS implementer. So are you familiar with EOS?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, the vision and getting your
Yes.
team on board with the vision and et cetera. Yeah.
So we introduced EOS Consumer Fusion, I want to say close to 3.5 years ago. So I want to he was one of the first to join EOS. He's also local. He's been great. So that is kind of my version of a business coach at the moment. I would like to work with one again, though. Just like how athletes use coaches, they push you, and sometimes you need to be pushed.
So what are 3 virtues that you think make good business leaders?
That is a great question. So I could go on for hours about strong leadership. It's something I'm passionate about to my core. But for me, circling back to working with a business coach, so this was 4 years ago, he introduced me to social styles. Are you familiar with social styles? Okay. So it works both personally and professionally. And you and your team, you take a test, and then you have 10 people who don't live with you answer questions about your social style as well, and it spits you out into 4 different quadrants. So there are analytics, drivers, amiables, and expressives. I am an amiable expressive, and expressives, they like to socialize, they like to have relationships, they want to collaborate, they have an idea on a whim, they want to talk about it and dive deep. So the opposite to expressives are analyticals. And analyticals they like data. They like time to make a decision. They need to process information. They hate when you catch them off guard and they don't have time to prepare. So they say that in business, let's just say I am an expressive. I have surrounded myself with analyticals because I have intentionally worked with people and grown my team to where their strengths are my weakness. And I know that I like to do, and I operate this way, but then I need team members who operate this way in these seats. So social styles, circling back to that, has been a game changer for me because are you familiar with treat others how you want to be treated? Mm-hmm. It makes sense.
Yeah.
But you also need to understand that you need to treat people how they want to be treated too, because they don't necessarily want to be treated the same way that you want to be treated. So knowing social styles and respecting people's social styles has been a big game changer. There's a book on it. There's tons of podcasts around it. Like, highly recommend that if you have a team around you. So social styles is one.
Let me ask you a question on that.
Yeah.
How do you know? Do you ask people a certain question, or how do you know how they want to be treated? What do you do to dive
So
into
it
that?
depends on how. There's several different ways that you know, but like just socially. So and even with my kids, it depends how open or closed off they are. Like, have you ever gone into a meeting and someone's talking about the weather, or they're asking how your day is? Or they go straight to the agenda. So like that's a driver. So you just know by their personality, and after you take the tests and you get asked the answers, you just put it into like real life experiences, and once you know, it's very easy to identify what someone is.
Could you share some more insights into maybe
Yeah.
give us some more examples?
Well, another big piece of social styles is being versatile. And so if I know that you're an amiable and like the traditional characteristics of an amiable, you need to be versatile and adjust to make them comfortable. And the whole goal is to get them comfortable and to open up to you. So, yeah.
Okay. What about another style?
So those are the main four.
Okay.
And so like a driver is, and most CEOs fall into the driver category.
So let's say you're going to go talk to a CEO that's a driver. How are you going to start the conversation?
They want to be business first usually. They don't want to have social pleasantries. They just want to get straight to the point. Amiable when they're upset, because I am a amiable expressive. They like close off, they get quiet, they avoid confrontation. So it's really fun to assess people's social styles once you're familiar with them, and you're like, oh, that makes perfect sense. But it really helps you lead a team when you know what your team's social styles are. Like, I know that if I'm asking anything of my analyticals, I have to give them 24 hours notice. I have to let them know that I want to have this meeting and I need XYZ, and here's the data around XYZ. And that's going to result in them being comfortable and the best outcome for that meeting. If I went up to them spontaneously and was like, hey, can we talk about this? I have this idea. I mean, yes, they will still talk with me, but they prefer and they like to operate where they have time and like notice before. So
Okay, that's really helpful stuff. I'll have to read it. What's the name of the book again?
so it's actually just called Social Styles.
Okay,
Yeah.
it's not a book. It's like a test, or
So it's like kind of like a workbook. So,
okay.
but it is a book, and I highly recommend it. Even if you just watch a video around it, it's very eye-opening. And like, there's some groups that use like animals instead of the names that I listed off for social styles, and like the animal represents the same characteristics that I went over with those social
So it's
styles.
helpful to like think about it kind of in that way.
Yeah, it is.
Like, how would you treat a tiger versus a puppy or something,
exactly.
right? Okay.
Yes, you
That's
get it
good.
just
Yeah,
by talking
okay,
about
there we
it.
go.
I'm impressed.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
I want to shift over to a little bit more about virtues, and one of my favorite ones to talk about is patience.
Yeah.
Are you a patient person?
Sometimes.
It's always funny. I love to ask this question. It's one of my favorite questions, and I get varied responses. I mean, what is patience? You're a mother and a business owner, so I'm sure you would have to have patience, but I'm sure your patience gets tested all the time too.
Every hour.
Tell me more about it.
I think I've learned to control how I handle maybe if I'm upset or if my patience is being tested. But no, absolutely, both professionally and in my personal life, it gets tested probably hourly. And when it comes to my professional life, I try to look at whatever situation I'm in from their perspective, whether it's an upset client or a distraught team member. Like I try to realize like what they're going through and put myself in their shoes. I've also learned that I don't have to give an answer immediately. I always like to say I acknowledge, and then like I hear you, and I restate what I took away from the engagement. If it was a meeting, what I took away from the meeting, and then I'm like, I will get back to you, but I need a little bit of time to digest and process this. So I learned that I don't have to give an answer or say yes or no immediately, and that was a big game changer for me as well. So that's one great way of managing patience levels.
Did you learn that? Is that like a spiritual thing you learned, or did you read personal development books, or is it just from the School of Hard Knocks? How did you learn to gain that?
I heard it from someone, and I'm blanking off the top of my head who it was from. I think it was my EOS implementer. He was working with me as my business coach a few years ago, and I think it was from him.
Amazing. What about goals? I want to talk about personal goals and
Huge with goals.
professional. I know you are. This is your topic.
I mean, we could talk about this for 4 days, and I won't run out of content on this.
Well, I hear a lot about goals from every thought leader, from Brian Tracy and Tony Robbins, Jim Rohn. I mean, it goes back to Napoleon Hill, and I'm sure it goes back thousands of years to probably ancient Babylon, this notion of like goals and vision. So for a young entrepreneur, or even a seasoned entrepreneur, even myself, I guess I'm asking for myself, but sometimes goals are hard to think about. Like, how do you have a vision about what you want and dial it in, write it down, create a plan over weeks, months, years to achieve it? Let's talk about the fundamentals.
Well, and that's the thing. Over time, your goals change, and they should, because you change, you grow, you develop as a person. Like my goals when I first started Consumer Fusion are completely different to what my goals are today. And that's because I've pushed myself, and others around me have pushed me to accomplish what I have wanted to accomplish, and it keeps me like striving and driving for further success. I'm just enjoying every moment of that. But a big piece of that is, it was before I turned 30, I made a list of all the things I wanted to accomplish before I turned 40. And not to date myself, but I've started a list of everything I want to accomplish before I turn 50. But so I'll be 40, not this July, but next July. And there's one thing left on my list from before it was 30. And it's something that I can easily do. It's just I need to just do it. But I love having that list, to reflect on. Like I've, been able to identify like, wow, I've really grown so much as a person in the last, decade. But I also am huge on just daily goals too. I just started this recently with my husband. When we wake up before the madness of the day starts, we tell each other what our number one goal for the day is. So there's a difference between like a quick win goal versus a long-term goal. And I read this book, Gap in the Gain, about 2 years ago, because I was getting to a point where I'm a big believer in surrounding yourself with people who are better than you, or smarter than you, or who inspire you to be better or do better. And I was kind of down on myself because I was comparing, and that is the thief of joy. But they had accomplished a lot professionally, and I just didn't feel like I was equivalent or good enough. And then I read Gap in the Gain, and Gap in the Gain is all about stopping to celebrate your wins along the way to your desired end goal, because every step in the right direction towards that goal is a win. And from reading that book, it really changed my perspective, and I'm so much just lighter and easier on myself, because I am still working towards the ultimate goal, but acknowledging the small wins along the journey to get me there. And one thing that I actually started doing, which I highly recommend to people, is making videos when I'm celebrating something. Like when I'm on my high and I'm like, oh my God, like I could conquer the world right now. I just take 30 seconds to a minute and I video myself how I'm feeling, why I'm so excited, whatever I accomplish, like what that's going to result to for my life, for the business. And I do it when I'm down as well. If something is bothering me and I want to remember not to repeat, past mistakes that made me feel that way, I'll take the time to kind of document that in a video as well. It's more fun to do the positive highlights and wins, but Gap in the Gain is a great book. You can listen to it on Audible. It's like less than 5 hours. So
Wow, Gap in the Gain.
yes.
That's awesome. I love it. Let's talk about books. What are two
Yeah.
other, or audiobooks, whatever, or what are two other ones you'd recommend?
I love Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People. I think that, I mean, I've read the book, but then I'll listen to it on Audible. It's a long book, so I don't repeat the whole entire thing, but I'll just do like a chapter or two, probably once a year. I feel like no matter how many times you read or listen to it, you walk away with some golden nuggets.
What are the things that let's talk about a few lessons. What are some of the top lessons you've learned from that book that stick with you?
You attract more bees with honey than with vinegar. The value of a name. I was on a call yesterday with a client, long-term client, and I asked how her husband and kids were doing, but I mentioned them by name. She's like, I can't believe you remember my husband and kids' name. I'm like, of course I do. I care about you. I care about, your family, and just, I mean, that right there, I think is one of the biggest takeaways from the book. But the whole book is filled with good nuggets.
So you'd say name. So I'd say, hey, Brynn, tell me about something. Like, is that what you're talking about by saying somebody's name again
And just
again?
remembering their name too.
Yeah,
like
remember
you
the name.
get introduced to 6 people at once, but actually like taking the time to remember their names, and then the next time you run into them saying, hi, it's nice to see you, and like repeating their name. I know
I'm
it
a
sounds
horrible
silly.
person. I suck at names. Okay, I'd fail there, but thank you.
Have
I'll
you
practice
read
it.
the book? Or are you familiar
No,
with it?
I'm familiar with
Okay.
it, yeah. I studied Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. I think that was
Okay.
kind of along the same vein of that. And Jim Rohn, I think he's a great, you know who Jim Rohn is?
I don't.
Oh, he's amazing.
Okay. Well, I'll work on Jim Rohn, and
Yeah,
then
yeah, thank you. Yeah,
you
take
do.
our suggestions. I do want to go back to the goals for a minute, though. So
Sure.
when, let's say somebody's never set goals, and they're sitting down to write goals, what are they writing out? How are they starting the process?
Well, great question there, because there's a stat. I want to say it's 42%. There's a 42% chance of accomplishing your goals if you simply write them down, whether it's a little or a big goal. So yes, absolutely write down your goals. And I think it starts with first truly understanding and identifying what you really want. My last business coach was huge on being the architect of your own life. What do you want to accomplish? Why do you want to accomplish it? Why does that matter? And like really asking questions to make me dig deep to understand if it truly is what I want, but then like the value of that like after I achieve it. So yes, I think that just simply, whether it's like a daily to-do list, and I'm still old school, I have to write it down. I know that there's tools to where you could do it on devices, but I love ending my day, having my to-do list of what I want to get done the next day ready for me.
Do you plan long-term, though? I mean, that's a short-term way to do it.
Yes.
And do you split your professional and your personal goals up?
Sometimes they intertwine, but for the most part, my professional goals are my I have both. I have daily, I have weekly, I have monthly, I have quarterly, I have annually, and then I have by the decade. So yeah,
Wow.
I'm a goal list person, absolutely.
So, but if somebody, like, I know for me when I first started, it was really intimidating. I'm still learning how to set goals. I feel like one of my mentors said those that are not planning are planning to fail, or something like that. I don't know if you've heard that quote before, but those that fail to plan are planning to fail. That's the quote. Yeah.
Let me ask you this, though, and put you on the spot.
Okay.
Like, what is your life goal?
To
What
reach
do you want?
enlightenment.
To what?
To reach enlightenment.
Okay.
Yeah, spiritual enlightenment.
Love
So
it.
daily I meditate. I read
That's
spiritual
great.
knowledge. I study Christianity, Hinduism, Buddhism, all the philosophies to see what sticks with me and my soul.
Okay. And you're already doing that.
I've been doing it for 12
Yeah,
years.
I
Yeah,
love
yeah.
it.
I've been studying it, studying the spirit, and I also have a financial goal on there too.
Okay.
I say,
there's nothing wrong with that.
One
You
worldly
gotta
goal
live.
and one spiritual goal.
Yeah.
That's for me. I mean, I don't have children, so I have a lot of time to focus on myself, which I believe when we focus on ourselves in a wholesome way, we can give more back to the world. When we correct our mistakes and learn from them and grow out of them, we can learn compassion and empathy for others.
Yes.
So-
And that's great advice for leaders as well.
yeah, that's what you mentioned earlier. But let me go back to you.
Okay.
But I like
Sorry.
it. No,
Plot-
I love
plot
it.
twist.
Thank you. What has been the biggest obstacle in your life, and how did you overcome it?
Balancing growing consumer fusion while being a present mom. It's been a constant battle.
Still a battle.
Oh, yeah. I mean, now more than ever, everyone is like, oh, once you get out of the baby and toddler stage, and sorry, I don't mean to be so focused on kids, but that is truly my biggest challenge. Now they're in sports and dance and birthday parties. It's just like the constant activities. Like I'm fucking up my calendar every hour.
Is time going quicker too? Like I swear, I feel like
100%.
with tech and as I get older, like time is just flying by.
Yeah,
Like,
April's almost over. Like the year's almost halfway done. It's nuts.
yeah, I was just talking with Chris about that. We're like, we can't believe that April is almost over, and even how far we're into 2025. I'm like, what is going on?
Yes.
I just wonder if we're just so we're so busy all the time, and we have so much stimulation.
Yes.
From technology that it makes it go by so quick.
And then also I find myself commonly saying the days feel long, but the years fly by.
Yeah. One of my mentors taught me about the 7 bodies: the spirit, the soul, the intellect, the energetic body, the emotional, mental, and physical.
Okay.
So let's walk through these bodies a little bit and talk about, so what do you do for physical activity?
I work out every day. It's just, that's my healthy stress reliever. I'm usually listening to an audiobook or a podcast or news digest. That way I don't feel too guilty about taking that time for me. But yeah, every day I find some way to squeeze in exercise.
Do you go to the gym, or is this at your house? Or
I have a home gym in my garage. So I started working out in the backyard though, because I feel like vitamin D just makes you happy.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Good. So physical activity every day.
100%.
And then food and diet, does that play a role? How do you work that in your physical body?
All in balance. I mean, I loved tonight. I'm going with some team members to a steak dinner, so we're gonna indulge a little bit. But I'd say like 80% of the time I'm eating clean. I like to say a third of my plate is green, but I also splurge. I drink too much, if I'm being honest. I try to do 10 dry days a month, and then I'm like, okay, a third of my life is completely dry.
Yeah.
So, but I think it is a big piece of your overall health.
I think balance is really, really important. That's really the word. And when I look at these 7 bodies, I see balance in all of them. Let's move on to mental. What do you do for your mental body to balance it?
I mean, your mindset, going back to, we didn't get through all of my like top leadership initiatives, but having positive influences around you and having a positive mindset are so key. Exercise helps with my positive mindset as well. I used to stress so much, even as recent as 7 or so years ago. And then I was like, you know what? Like, I'm healthy. My family's healthy. Work is great. Like, what am I really so stressed about? And when you ask yourself, if you find yourself getting stressed out or in a negative mindset, like 2 years ago, what was it that was bothering you so much? Odds are you can't even remember what it is either. But putting yourself in a positive mindset, you can conquer the world, I feel like, if you have a positive mindset. My husband is the most positive growth mindset individual that I know, and I really attribute our success to his just positive energy. But
what about emotional?
So I think it's important to communicate how you're feeling. I think that team members need to respect one another. So I think you need to be brave enough to have difficult conversations. If you're upset, you should explain why, because if someone is ignorant to, how you feel, then you can't blame them for not changing how they're handling the relationship.
What about to yourself? Like, what if you're feeling anxious or worried or hard on yourself because something didn't go how you planned it?
Okay.
How do you deal with your emotions internally for yourself, not even reflecting to others?
Well, for me, it's finding someone to talk to. I have females in my life professionally who understand what I go through in my professional life, but then I have people in my personal life who I can relate to on, topics due to, personal matters. And I feel like if you hold it in, it just eats at you. I feel like, do you ever, go deep in conversation and then you're like, wow, it was kind of awkward at first, but I feel so much better just having told someone.
I had a therapist. I surrendered to therapy finally.
Yeah.
I mean, when I was younger, I went to therapists and I was like, oh, everything's fine. And they're like, well, there's no reason for you to be here then, because I wasn't opening up about what was truly bothering me.
Yeah.
And finally at like 40 or 41, I was like, okay, I found a therapist. And finally I really she's like, oh, you got anger issues. I was like, I'm angry? I didn't even know I was angry.
I can't even imagine you being
I
angry.
didn't know
'cause
either.
You're so zen.
But that's what helped you transcend it when you look at that and say, like, I think professional therapy is good. What's your opinion on that?
100%.
Okay.
So, and I'll be honest, I have had hard years where I'm like, I needed to talk to someone, and I did have a therapist. And I think everyone should have a therapist, to be honest.
Thank you.
Because, like, going back to social styles and Dale
yeah.
Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People, they always say genuinely be others focused and, like, show others that you care about them. Where else other than in therapy can you sit there and be self-indulged and talk about yourself for an hour? So yes, I think that everyone should and is entitled to that me time.
Well, right, and you have kids and a husband, and I wonder, like, I mean, I'm in a different position because I don't, and I think there's times where you need your self-time, and I don't mean selfish time.
Yeah, no.
What do you think the difference is between taking care of yourself and being selfish? Is there a difference? Is it a fine line?
No, I agree with you wholeheartedly. I said earlier, you have to take care of yourself before you can take care of others. So, I mean, it will run you ragged if you're not taking care of yourself. I mean, there's some mornings where I am working out. Well, not so much anymore, but when my kids were younger, I was doing my workouts by the side of the bed because I had sick kids in the bed. But it's like I was still committed to, like, giving myself that time. If I want to do something, like, I will block it off on my calendar, and I sometimes feel a little guilty if I'm doing it during business hours. So that's why I was like, if I go for a run on the beach, I'm listening to an audiobook or a podcast, but I enjoy the content that I'm listening to. So I'm like, okay, knocking out, two birds, one stone. But no, I completely agree with you.
So what about the energetic body? What about energy? And I'm not just talking coffee. I'm just saying energy in yourself and to others. Do you understand what I mean by that concept?
I mean, like, yes, I do, but I don't know what kind of advice I would give around. I mean, I definitely think that you can pick up on other people's energy, especially positive and negative energy. I have been told that, like, I exude positive energy, that I'm just, like, overall, like, I seem like I'm a happy person, but I believe in it.
Well, when your energy is not good, it's hard. We just talked about this. Like, when your energy is not in its spot and you have to go on stage, or you have to show up for your kids and you're in a mood and they're driving you crazy.
Yeah. Oh,
does your energy shift in these times? And when you have to fight it, do you have techniques on getting out of that energy you might be in?
I say fake it till you make it, and I have received awful, horrible news 1 minute before, like, a company-wide call, or before I'm giving a big presentation to a client, and I'm like, oh God, I just got to get through, like, this next hour. And I just, like, tell myself, like, just toughen up and get through it. And it's funny, by the time you get through what you have to do, like what you're forced into, it's like you kind of just naturally calm down by the time you've gone through whatever is in front of you.
Yeah, I went to yoga teaching school a couple times, and our teacher said you got to shelf it. So, like, if you go to teach yoga, which is a very energetic practice in many ways, like, she's like, you just got to shelf your BS.
Yeah.
Like, you can't bring it and teach the class. You got to shelf it. I always thought
I
that
like
was
that.
interesting.
You gotta shelf it.
So intellectual body is where you have big ideas. The ideas for your enterprise, ideas to change your life, ideas on just big picture stuff in your life. What do you do for your intellectual body?
I always have a notepad close by. I have one in my purse. My best ideas, like, they come in the middle of the night, and then it disrupts my sleep, of course. But you need to trust your gut and pay attention. And I'm always just kind of thinking big picture and what's next. And a meeting I had today, I walked away with 3 ideas for what I learned from that call, like how I can make Consumer Fusion better. I'm just always trying to learn more. So
That's awesome. And then spirit and soul, do you go to church? Do you study Buddhism? Do you not believe in anything? Are you atheist? Like, what do you do for your spirit or your soul?
I grew up Christian and I went to church, but I do not go to church anymore. My mother-in-law is very Christian, and she kind of handles that and does Bible studies with my kids, and it's actually really cute. But I'm not super religious. I would say I'm more spiritual, and I believe in being a good person.
Okay, that's good. And what do you do to nurture the spiritual side?
My happy place when I'm not with my favorite people, wherever the location may be, is I really enjoy being down at the beach. Like that is just my time to reflect, appreciate where we live, my health, and just kind of I don't do it often enough, but yeah.
What about, let's talk about gratitude for a minute. Do you think in this society, people maybe not grateful, like especially in America? I mean, we live in the richest country in the world, and I feel like sometimes we don't practice gratitude for what we have, and that's where a lot of this stems from. How important do you think gratitude, even for the simplest things we have in our life, is?
I saw something on TikTok this morning. It was a woman who was doing dishes, doing laundry, and cleaning up her house. And her message was, how grateful am I that I have enough food in my house to feed my family, that I have to do dishes that kept us healthy and nourished, fed, that I have enough, clothes to do to keep my family, dressed and clean, and that we have a home and like toys for my family to play with. Like, you get the point of the message.
Yeah.
But I 100% agree. It's like so many people are like, I have XYZ to do. Oh, I have to do this. But we should be thankful that we live the life we live. We have the life we have, like that we get to do these things, that we get to have these things. So,
and segueing from that topic is, what do you think would make the world a better place right now?
oh gosh, there's a lot of things.
We have time. Tell us. We want to know. You're such a positive person. This is wonderful.
Thanks.
I love interviewing you.
I mean,
So
I
many good
love
things.
helping people. I genuinely do. It makes my heart like full. I think that if everyone were a little less selfish and a little more giving, I think that givers gain. I think that would make a huge difference. And I think patience, we talked about patience, I think, and empathy. I think that if people were more patient with one another and practice empathy and tried to take a quick moment before maybe treating someone a certain way, like understanding why that person is the way they are, I think that could be a big game changer too.
Yeah, great points. Great points. So if you could meet anybody in history, either living or dead, who would it be and why?
Oh God, I don't know. Who would yours be?
Well, no, I'm asking you first.
I feel like you would pick Gandhi.
Probably my guru, but close.
Okay.
They're both Hindu, so.
Okay, if I could meet anybody, I have to think about this, and then we're gonna come back to this because I don't really know off the top of my head. I've never really thought about this before.
All right, that's all right.
If I could meet anyone alive,
Sure.
who would I like to meet?
Sure.
Professionally, I'd love to meet Mark Cuban. He cracks me up, and he's so smart. I would love to just pick his brain if he would give me the time.
Well, that's a good one, Mark Cuban. Yeah, he's quite a character. So, what's the best business decision you've ever made?
To start Consumer Fusion.
And what about within Consumer Fusion? Was there a strategy you implemented or something you did that really helped kick that off for you?
Bringing in AI, absolutely. That is just allowed. What differentiates Consumer Fusion from other alternatives in the space is our technology is equivalent. AI powered, like I would throw it up against companies that have had millions and millions of invested dollars. But we also have that white glove support as well. In my opinion, you still need human touch to things, and that's where we're bar none. And so you mix the two together and it's just unstoppable. We have such a strong client retention. We daily are getting so many word of mouth referrals that it's just,
Well, you do all the work. I see you at conventions all the time. I mean, you do your lead generation, and you do
Yes.
great work. I mean, that's part of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where do you think AI is going to go in the next 5 years? I mean, not just in your space, but are you analyzing trends and seeing, like, is it going to play in education more?
Oh, yeah.
Is it gonna...
It's everywhere. It already is everywhere. Am I allowed to go like PG-13?
Yeah, go for it.
I heard this stat a few weeks ago, and it's kind of crazy. I want to say it was by like 2048. They're predicting that humans will be having sex more with AI-powered robots than with other humans. I know. Mic drop, right? I heard that and I was like...
I didn't think it would even take that long, but yeah, that's shocking.
But you know what?
Might already be happening.
It's so true, but I use ChatGPT 100 times a day, like constantly. And I was making osso buco on Good Friday, and I was like asking all my questions to ChatGPT, like where I got the recipe, which ingredients to use. And then at the end, I uploaded a photo and I was like, be honest, does this osobuco look good? And then like it responded with like a very complimentary response. And then I was like, are you bullshitting me or did it really look good? And then they explained and I was like, oh my God, Mark, I feel so validated from AI telling me that my osobuco looked good. So I could totally imagine a lonely person having a robot who they can mold and prompt to do whatever they like and want. And then, like, it was the same week that I heard this stat. And I'm like, oh, wow.
Mark, you got competition, buddy. You better step up your game. You better tell her that osobuco
Or this is our
perfect.
next business venture and we get into the game early. Sorry to go there on your podcast.
Yeah,
this is
no.
business leadership. But
I mean,
it's something that is going to take our world by storm.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Do you have any concerns for your children in the future of tech and where things are going?
I do.
What are
Also
they?
with my parents. So we have a safe word. I'm like, Mom, Dad, no one should ever be like, I'm never going to ask you for money, like, or just all these scams that you're hearing elderly people fall victim to. So we have a family safe word. And I'm like, if there's ever any emergency, I will say this, and it's a random word that no one would ever know or guess. But that's one thing that makes me feel a little bit better because, I mean, if you're out there online, like, your voice is out there, your images are out there. Have you heard about these scams that are happening?
I haven't. The safe word's an excellent idea. That's probably one of the best tips that you everything's been
thanks.
good, but I think that's really something where
it's practical. Everyone's
really,
gonna face this.
That's
where like
amazing.
they can impersonate like, Grandma, I'm stuck in blah blah blah. Can you send me money? And it sounds just like your grandchild. Like that capability already exists.
Have you seen the scam baiters on YouTube at all? The people that bust people that scam people from other
but it
countries?
sounds great.
Oh, you got to watch it. It's amazing.
Awful that it's happening, but
no,
I would
it
be
reminds me. But I'll send you a couple of these people because they're absolutely doing amazing work by actually taking these scammers down and then they reverse scam them and hack into their system and their I mean, it's amazing.
Okay,
It's
thank you.
hilarious.
That
is
is a great tip that I'm excited to walk away
I'll
with.
share some with you. Okay. Well, is there anything else we didn't cover today? I mean, we covered a lot in this short time.
I know I feel like we were kind of squirreling, but I feel like we covered a lot of good, important nuggets.
Yeah, amazing. What didn't we cover that you would like to talk about?
I mean, I think from everything that we talked about today and pertaining to just leadership in general, I think you have to be, at the end of the day, passionate about what you're doing. I think that, like, when I was pulling in today, there was a young gentleman, probably late 20s, on his lunch break walking around, and he just looked down and he looked sad, like, oh, I'm getting out for my lunch break. And I felt for him. I was like, this is his one life, and he's not enjoying it. Like, we're in beautiful, sunny San Diego. But no, long story short, I think that if you're not happy or if you're not loving, if you're not passionate about what you're doing, you're never too old to, shift and change. And I said earlier, like, be the architect of your own life. Like, if you want something, write it down. You're 42% more likely to, achieve your goals if you write them down, but just don't be scared to try. You miss all the shots that you don't take. Yeah,
that's wonderfully put. So that prompted me actually, because I loved what you said about goals, but what I would like to extract from you, and I don't know if we covered, is if you're having problems writing goals, how are you to find what you want? How do you begin that? I think for novices, that's the biggest, hardest part. They're like, well, I want to write down goals, but I don't know what the hell I want.
Well, I think a lot of people too, first of all, everyone judges success and happiness differently because it means different things to different people. So I think that you need to truly understand what it is that makes you happy and figure out what your definition and version of success are. And then once you know what it is that you define as like your success and your happiness, like what steps do you need to take? What do you need to adjust to get you there? Because have you, like, so many times too, like, oh, if I just had $1 million, I'd be happy. But then you get used to and comfortable with that lifestyle. And then when you get to $1 million, you're like, oh, if I just had $5 million, I'd be happy. Yeah. So it's like truly understanding what it is that makes you happy. Like, I always like to say, I consider it a wasted day if I don't take a moment to appreciate the sunrise and the sunset. That's my thing. I love both the sunrise and the sunset. No one can ever take that joy away from me. It's just something that I personally love and I take the time to appreciate. I always tell my husband, like, we could be anywhere. We could be on a park bench or in the nicest hotel in the world, but like, as long as I'm with you, I'm in my happy place because I'm with my happy person. So I think it circles back to just finding your true happiness, like your true purpose, and then going after it from there.
Probably a little easier said than done, but worth the work, right? Worth the work. My mentor Jim Rohn, I'll introduce you to Jim Rohn.
I would love that.
He's not alive, but he has great videos on YouTube. But he said reasons, the reasons you want success, the reason you want your goals, that will pull you towards finding that out, setting that vision, planning your day. He said, before you start the day, plan the day. Before you start the week, plan the week. Before you start the year, plan the year, which I really love.
I love that.
Yeah.
And especially for like a younger audience, if any like aspiring entrepreneurs are watching, like a lot of times people look at success and like the materialistic things that go along with that. And it's like, why do you want those things? And it's because you want to impress other people. But yeah, I'm excited to dive deeper into his work. It sounds fascinating.
So I'm going to turn a question back on you. What's your lifelong goal?
Overall, good health. Something I pay very close attention to. It really is being happy. Like, I judge my success in happiness. I could have taken on investment years ago, and I would have been so stressed being ridden to hit certain metrics that were not what I truly wanted for myself, my life, my team's life, the company. So really, it's happiness.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And what I've studied is happiness comes from inside, and it sounds like you've got a lot of that inside. That's beautiful.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's a lot of work to do that. Thank you so much for sharing all your knowledge and wisdom.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Amazing. It was amazing.
I enjoyed the time with you.
Would you let people know just in the camera how they can get a hold of you if they're interested in talking with you or contacting Consumer Fusion for help?
Yeah, so I'm on all the social platforms, So Brynn Gibbs is my handle on social media. You can reach out, DM through any of those platforms. But Consumer Fusion's website is consumerfusion.com. But if it's for me directly, just on social.
Well, that wraps us up with Brynn Gibbs today. Thank you so much for joining us on Inspiring Business Leaders, and we'll see you next episode.